Paul Robeson's glorious bass voice was his only claim to fame, he would still be considered one of the greatest talents of his generation. But the singer and actor also boasted a brilliant legal mind, spoke more than 20 languages, and was described as the greatest ever to trod the gridiron when he played college football. As an African-American, Robeson battled prejudice and discrimination all his life. He refused to conform to racial stereotypes and was always outspoken when he saw injustice. In 1919, he graduated from Rutgers University as class valedictorian and moved to New York to study law. During his studies, Robeson supported his wife and son by playing professional football. He also made his acting debut and discovered the perfect way to push the boundaries of America's segregated society. As the lead in Eugene O'Neill's All God's Chillun' Got Wings, he received death threats from the Ku Klux Klan because a white actress kissed his hand in the play. After quitting a law firm because a white secretary refused to take dictation from him, Robeson went into acting full-time. His brilliant performances in plays such as Emperor Jones and Roseanne attracted wide attention, and a concert he gave at Provincetown Playhouse in 1925 was so impressive he was offered a recording contract. In 1928, Robeson performed in the London production of Jerome Kern's Showboat, where his rendition of Old Man River became an instant classic. Dubbed the King of Harlem and idol of his people, African Americans were inspired by Robeson's excellence. He followed Showboat up with a memorable version of Othello on the London stage, a role he reprised 10 years later in the United States. In the 1930s, Robeson starred in the film version of Emperor Jones and was featured in several movies, including King Solomon's Mines and Song of Freedom. But his film career was constrained by the lack of roles for a black actor, other than slave or servant. During this decade, Robeson became politically active, campaigning for radical causes in Africa, the United States, and Spain. A visit to the Soviet Union impressed him so much, he became a staunch supporter of communism. "Here, for the first time in my life, I walk in full human dignity," he said of the trip, and continued to support the Soviet government even after Stalin's bloody purges became public knowledge. Robeson was at the height of his popularity by the 1940s, but within a few years the Cold War withered the World War II Soviet-American alliance, and Robeson fell out of favor with mainstream America. A series of riots disrupted some of his concerts and led sponsors to drop him. NBC canceled his scheduled appearance on the television program Today with Mrs. Roosevelt, and the American government confiscated his passport when he refused to give a guarantee that he would not give political speeches on his travels to Europe. His great performances on film, television, and records were withdrawn from distribution, and the entertainment industry attempted to distance itself from the controversial star. However, Robeson refused to be cowed and continued to speak out about the issues that concerned him, even as many black activists shunned him, worried that his unpopularity would impair their cause. In 1958, Robeson's autobiography, Here I Stand, was published. The same year, the Supreme Court ruled that the American government had no right to refuse to issue a passport because it disagreed with a citizen's political beliefs. Robeson moved to Britain and traveled the world giving performances, but began to suffer health problems. In 1963, he attempted suicide while in Moscow. His son claimed he had done this while under the influence of hallucinogenic drugs secretly administered by the CIA. Robeson died in 1976, aged 77. 2 years later, his films were finally shown on American television.
Three.